If there's anything you should know about me as a gamer, it's that not only do I love gimmicks and odd peripherals, but those gimmicks and peripherals are even more interesting to me if they're obscure, discontinued, or completely useless. So imagine my surprise when I'm wandering through a thrift store one day and see a box that immediately catches my eye. Upon further inspection, I was shocked to see a logo everyone who was a gamer in the 2010s would recognize: the developers of Rock Band, Harmonix. This is a deep dive into the world of Rock Band's forgotten sibling, Dropmix. Let's get started. Harmonic Music Systems, better known as simply Harmonix, was founded in 1995 by MIT students Alan Rigpolis and Aaron Egozi out of Boston, Massachusetts. Based on a love for both music and programming, Harmonix spent the bulk of their careers developing music-based video games for platforms such as the PS2, PS3, and Xbox Connect. Standouts include Guitar Hero, Rock Band, and Dance Central. Aside from their larger console games, Harmonix also managed to develop a number of different iOS and Android games, one of which was a partnership with toy company Hasbro, the topic of today's video, Dropmix. Announced by Hasbro and Harmonix in March of 2017, the device, alongside what were called Playlist Packs and Discover Packs, would release later that same year. The box, priced at $100 at launch, came with the board and 60 NFC cards to start. The game loop was simple. Players would download the free app on their device and connect it to the board via Bluetooth. The player would then take their cards, separated into the vocal, drum, piano, and other instrument loops of popular licensed songs, and use those on the board to trigger the app through NFC chips in the cards. The power level on the card indicated things like key, speed, or length within the mix. When a player got into the app, they were met with a number of different game modes that they can play with their cards. The main mode was a competitive 1v1 or 2v2 clash mode, where players had to continually put cards of higher power onto the board and would push the button when they ran out of cards. The app would then tell you what cards to remove, and the game would continue until a point requirement was met. Beyond that, there was freestyle mode, where players could simply mess around with the beats and mix, party mode, where players were tasked with putting the right card in at the right time or risk losing points, and finally, puzzle mode, where the game mechanics of Clash mode are combined with the scoring of party mode. Upon release, the game was received fairly well, with the biggest criticism being the steep price tag and the requirement of the large hunk of plastic to be able to play anything on the app. Despite decent reviews and a whole host of award nominations, Dropmix fell below expectations in the long run. It continued to receive new playlists and Discover Packs until the app was delisted and support ceased in late 2022, with a total of around 300 cards being produced in total. So here we have the actual Dropmix device. As previously mentioned in the intro, I found this at a thrift store local to me. I unfortunately couldn't figure out a way of how to actually make it play, but I still thought it'd be cool to look at it. I do have some of the cards here too, as you can see. So the design of this thing is actually pretty cool. So we've got a big button over here, we've got all of the pads that would be used for the cards, and then there's this little slot here that the player would put their phone in if the app was currently working. So I've got these cards here. I bought them on eBay. This is the entire collection of 60 cards that came with the original package. They're all licensed songs apart from a very few. We've got stuff like Flow Rida and Run DMC and The Weeknd and A Tribe Called Quest. And honestly, one of the biggest things I want to point out is just how cool the artwork is for these. Like, I expected it to just be like the album artwork, but this is so cool. Like, they're all just custom pieces of art that represent the songs pretty well, honestly. Now, I really wish I could play this, and I've seen some ways online that people have figured out how to go about doing that, but I'm not very smart. But yeah, essentially, the card would go down like this, and it could make a mix that way. Now, I also have the box, which I'll cut to in a second. So this is the box. This thing caught my attention immediately in the thrift store. The fact that it was even in the box at all was already a fantastic thing to me. And I saw some people online talk about how this box has a note somewhere on it that says that the app is only promised for like a certain amount of time, and no matter what I did and no matter where I looked, I couldn't see any kind of disclaimer like that, so my assumption is that it does not exist. But this box is gorgeous. I mean, you've got some of the custom artwork that we just took a look at for the cards, and then on the back we've got an explanation as to what the game is and like a picture of the board and everything. Now, if I was a kid, I mean, I was a kid when this came out, but like if I was a bit younger or more into games at the time, I would have been all over this thing. I know that they ended up discontinuing it and replacing it with a game called Fuser, which has since also been delisted. But this is such a really cool piece of history, and I just wanted to take a look at it in like a living form on my new set here that I'm going to be trying out. So I think I'm going to throw it back to VoiceOver Me for the conclusion, but thank you guys so much for watching. Game peripherals like these are fascinating, regardless of their status of playability at any given point. This may sound pretentious for me to say, but I feel it's important to make videos like these so some pieces of gaming history can live on in a more permanent form, and to ensure that they're never truly forgotten. I want to make more videos like this one in time, and have some other discontinued or obscured gaming devices. What did you think of Dropmix? Have you played it before? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe while you're down there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.